A belter at the Brabant, but it's one thing for the pitch to be a belter, it's another to actually put the runs on the board, and that's exactly what Lucknow have done. Asked to bat first, almost taken like a gilt-edged invitation, and they've made their way to a mammoth total. 103 not out of 60 deliveries from KL Rahul. Enough help down the order, starting with his partnership with Quinton de Kock, and then the rejuvenated Manish Pandey adding 38 of 29 without even breaking a sweat. And that's what Mumbai will have in front of them to chase 200 in their 20 overs for just a mere matter of 2 points. And that would be their first 2 points in the tournament. Here on Cricbuzz Live, how damaging is that for Mumbai? Can they possibly do it? I've got Michael Vaughan and Pommie Mbangwa. Michael, on the face of it, it looks like a disaster, but the pitch appears to be a belter. It's just that do Mumbai have it in them, in the mindset to be able to even chase so many?
Oh, well, they've got the talent, they've got the players. It's just, what is their mindset? You look at, what they've delivered so far today. They've won the toss. They've allowed the opposition to bat on a road. So they've given them that opportunity to get a big score. Getting 200 does not happen often when you're chasing in T20 cricket. It's possible, but it doesn't happen that often. Tactically, I thought they were miles off the mark. In the field, I thought they were miles off the mark. And, the Mumbai Indians will need a Rohit Sharma to do exactly what we've seen from KL Rahul. I mean, of all the players in the world, there's many great ones. There's something about KL when he gets going into that kind of rhythm and form. He can transcend that kind of play and those shots into 50-over cricket, into Test match cricket. He just plays the pure way. And I always say to young players who are trying to play the game, try and copy the likes of KL, because that foundation gives you the chance to play all formats of the game and be successful. He's a beautiful player to watch.
I mean, certainly he would take the gift, Pommie, but if you add it all up, and let's not talk about even the fielding lapses right now, win the toss, say, would you like to bat first? Yes, thank you very much. I'll tell you what, we've got our talisman called Jasprit Bumrah. We'll just hold him back a little bit while you settle down.
Oh, there's so much to unpack out of that statement, to tell you. I think Mick said at the start that, whilst we're sitting chatting, you're saying, well, why not bat first in an afternoon game? Particularly, I think you said, Mick, you're old school. I think that's kind of just the way the game is. The game's about runs. And if you can create a scenario where bowlers have runs on the board and they can operate, it means they can create some sort of pressure on batters because the rate goes further and further up, particularly on a good wicket. If you can have a scenario as a side where you have pressure off yourselves, so allow your batters to go and free themselves, bat as they would like, calculate how they want, and then do what they feel according to the situation. On a road, they'll go, as has happened here with KL Rahul. Got to say, though, we've got to wait a little bit because we'll think, this is a great wicket, it's fantastic, and Rahul's played well. He's a top player. Quinton de Kock's a top player, and they've managed to play really well on there. I'd be surprised if the Stars of Mumbai can't play that well on there. However, form, situation, the fact that you don't use your best bowler up at the front, and they're probably going to go and try and make sure they do that and have the help of the scoreboard, means you put pressure on yourself.
Yeah, but you have to take your hat off to and your helmet and whatever else headgear you might have handy to KL Rahul. As Pommie mentioned, yes, of course, it's a road, but you've actually had to have the class to be able to maneuver, score at the right times, and even small tactics like paying respect to Jasprit Bumrah, Michael. I mean, 4 overs for 24, they had decided that we know him, he's one of our mates, we're not going to take him to the cleaners and take any risks whatsoever. But the rest, we're going.
Well, we saw it yesterday when the Sunrisers against Sunil Narine, they did the same thing. Don't risk too much against the high class. The quality ball that can do some real damage. The decision not to bowl Jasprit at the start against KL is remarkable. When you think of what KL's been going through of late, a couple of cheap, obviously, dismissals against some quality Trent Bolt, and then he gets the opportunity to get in, and then Jasprit's coming onto bowl, and he's already got his mind, he's got the kind of pace of the pitch, he knows the dimensions, he can just play then. That's a remarkable decision in this era of the game where it's all about data and information. As I said a few minutes ago, I just think he's a pure player. He's just got that pure play that he can play all the strokes. He can kind of soak up the pressure. He can see off a Jasprit Bumrah even in T20 cricket and just kind of say, okay, we'll target the other end. He's got that 360 degree without the tricks and the flicks. He can just maneuver the wrist. Those shots down to that vacant third region of Tamal Mills was just pure, just leaning back and just kind of opening the blade up and saying, thank you very much. There's a gap there, and I'll be able to maneuver my hands and my blade to make sure the ball gets into that gap. It's a special talent and one that I just love watching him bat. I just like to see an artist, and he's an artist when he's at his best.
I tell you what, and Mick, perhaps I'd throw the question to you and to say, if you're having a team meet and then you're looking at your opposition and you're trying to figure out which are the guys that are going to hurt you when you turn up in the game and how are you going to win the game, I don't know if you're going to look too far away from get KL out, get Quinton de Kock out, and you're a long way to winning the game. And so to miss that by that far when you have the weapon that is Jasprit Bumrah. So normally, as you think about things, you just match things up as your best bowler against their best batters. You don't even have to think out the box here. In fact, you have to jump into the box to say your best bowler bowls first and he goes at their best players. And if he gets one of them in the first over, suddenly you're winning the game. So how do they miss that? Like, I don't understand. It must really be a case of so much jumbled thinking and so many theories within one room to miss it so far.
And you mentioned pre-match, Pommie, about the fact that Rohit mentioned at the toss about there's no external pressure. Well, I saw the owner in the stands when Tamal suddenly went for another boundary and another boundary, and another boundary. The camera panned into him. I'm sorry. There is external pressure. And someone particularly like Mills, who's just gone around the park, he's just not got quite his mojo going in the IPL. I don't know whether that's something that's niggling him. I'm not too sure. But, I know he's a better bowler than what I'm seeing so far in the IPL. But he's kind of just offering it on a plate. Brings third up. There's two fielders just behind square on the offside. What does he bowl? He bowls a short, wide one. It's like, it's the ball the batter wants. At least, the variation of pace. Trying to fire in a leg stump Yorker, I didn't see it. Trying to bowl a real heavy bouncer into the ear, I haven't seen it yet. I know that's the kind of skill set that Tamal Mills has. And I'll keep saying it, the IPL does funny things to players. It takes them out of their norm because they're under that much pressure individually to keep their place in the side, to keep their contract. And they know that if they have a day like Tamal has just had, there's a very likely chance that he won't play the next game, and he might be done. That's how pressurized these players are under in this tournament. And, tactically, we're nowhere near. It's going to take that batting line up to fire, which hasn't so far, but they've certainly got the talent to be able to get close to this target.
Yeah, that almost seems like a free over from Tilak Varma. They got out of the way, but 3 overs for 54 is not something Mills will want to look back on. Okay, again, thinking like Riley Meredith, but that's a long way to go. The batting, already question marks. The bowling, they haven't got it right. Today, another extra 10, 15, maybe more, Pommie, in the field. Basic ones going under the legs of a top fielder like Surya Kumar Yadav. Fabian Allen catching up to the ball, going under his body.
Look, when it goes wrong in cricket, it can go very wrong. And it's like I said before, it's like quicksand. It's that tough when things go bad. But essentially what everybody then tries to do is to just go back to basics. And if you go from what is the basic template of the game, then less can go wrong, or you kind of give yourself a chance of having less go wrong. The fact that the fielding follows today, I think is just indicative of what's happening. Perhaps, as happens, your worst performance means you're closer to turning it around. That's what I believe, and that's what, as a sports person, you've got to believe, because whilst you're out there, you've got to be trying to figure out a way how to get out of whatever trouble you're in. For the Mumbai Indians, I tell you what, they've got talent. They've got a lot of talent. And that's why we continue to go, wow, have they done this? 5 on the bounce without a win. They look like they're in disarray. And you might have a situation where one person can win it for them and a little bit of help here and there. But they need it, and they need it now desperately.
Yeah, Michael, they're not a franchise who can hide anywhere. I mean, you can say a new franchise, Gujarat comes in, Lucknow comes in, they have a couple of bad games. Look, we're work in progress. We're sorting things out. We're new. We're little infants crawling. These guys are not infants. They've been there. They've done that. So that's why we go back to that one line. There's pressure multiplied by X.
Yeah, and you know they are the biggest franchise. They're the most high profiled. They are the Manchester United of the IPL, and when they have an iffy few games, it's more. I know, sorry, Pommie, I'm going to keep mentioning it, but they do get more column inches. They do get more debate on chat shows because it's the Mumbai Indians. And I look at the fielding in particular. When you see a fielding team produce what we've just seen, there's inward pressure because they're all good fielders. They all can get the ball in the hand. You know, the outfields are pure. And when you see basic errors, that to me says there's something not quite right working in the individual's minds. There's a little bit of pressure being put on themselves, probably by themselves, not by Rohit Sharma. He's a very calm, cool, calculated captain, but it's just natural for you as an individual to feel the pressure when you just know that this franchise is such a big franchise. And they'll say everything's rosy and everything's nice behind the scenes, but I'll guarantee it's not. There'll be all sorts going on behind the scenes. When you lose in the IPL and then you lose again and then you lose again and then you lose again and you lose again, there is pressure from outside. And I can see that from the way that the team have just fielded.
Well, let's not write them off yet. Before we finish the show, let's have a quick look at the bowling they're up against. We've already talked about who needs to do the job. It's Rohit Sharma, Ishan Kishan, Surya Kumar Yadav. They need help further down the order. Deval Brevis can hit sixes. Karen Pollard can hit them really big. They wouldn't want to go that far. What about the Lucknow bowling? They're not the worst in the world. They'll be led by Jason Holder, possibly opening the bowling. Chamira's quick. Avesh Khan, the wicket taker. Bishnoi is a wicket taker. We don't know if Stoinis will bowl. So they've got options for me.
They do have options. And you know what? When you've got 200 on the board, the one thing you know as a bowler is they're coming at you. And I think that's comforting. So it's entirely different when you turn up as a bowler and it's essentially them taking what you're giving them. So when you go, it's because you're not quite on song. But in this scenario, you've got to be philosophical about it to say, look, the harder they come at me, the more I'm going to get an opportunity. So I just have to be on the mark, just basically on the mark. I have to keep it as simple as possible. Where I feel I need to change pace because of conditions, I will. But other than that, I've just got to make sure that I'm bowling to what my field is. Tough scenario is right up at the front. Whoever is going to try and set it up at the front, I think is under the most pressure because they set up the game essentially. If you can ensure that they're not ahead of the game by the end of the 6 overs, then you've bowled your side into a position where the rest can kind of put the finishing touches to things. But hey, it's 2020 cricket. You just never know. One of them, as we say, can take it away from you. And you could be a match winner as the bowler in this scenario on a pitch that's quite good.
First ball boundary for Ishan Kishan. I'm going to throw you one number, Michael Vaughan, and you can respond with a number to me, a power play number. Dusmanta Chamira against Rohit Sharma. He's got him 6 times.
Oh, right. Well, Rohit's due to hit him for a few then. So I'm going to say in the power play, I'm going to say 56.
Yeah, they need that. They need that. Bare minimum. I think I'll go 60.
Yeah, I'm saying they're going to be 48.
Oh, okay. Pommie, we know which side you're leaning. Fair enough. Fair enough. Pommie's in turquoise today. Pommie's in turquoise today. That's where we are sticking. Some of us have got to get behind them. We don't want 0-6. We really don't. It's going to be.
I don't want it. I don't want. Nobody wants it. That's just what I think.
Take your United hat off, Pommie. Come on.
It's very difficult to do. I can't take that one off.
Get Cavani off the bench. Get Cavani off the bench. Cavani to start. Rashford to score. Oh, come on.
They're all injured.
Oh dear, let's not get off topic. Fine, that's all we have right now. We think it should be a big power play. We're punting on maybe 56, 60. Pommie thinks 48, but Mumbai will definitely need some runs on the board. Ishan Kishan, Rohit Sharma out there. Shamira will probably be opening up with Jason Holder. Lots to look forward to. We'll see you in Cricbuzz Combox in the 10th over. Until then, that's all we have on Cricbuzz Live.